I'm here this morning with Senator, I still love saying that, Senator Charles Perry. You just returned from being iced in Lubbock and have returned. I know you were running yesterday to a committee meeting. What all's happening? Bring us up to speed.
You know, lots of things going on, especially on the Senate side. We're moving probably faster than the Senate's ever operated on our agenda, which is number one, the budget. We must produce a budget. The encouraging thing is because the economy's done so well, it looks as if we'll have plenty of money to meet most of those basic needs in a way that are significant, provide tax relief for homeowners as well as businesses, and move the ball on that agenda further down the road. But the Senate's moving quick. It's been fun, it's been exciting, and it's fixing to get down to the work. The committees will actually in earnest start hearing bills next week, start having committee hearings and having constituents come in and testify. So the real work, in my estimation, begins probably next week to the next 2 weeks. We'll start hunkering down, if you will, in the committee process and hearing all of the issues of the day that matters to the people from around the state. So it's a fun time to be in the Senate. It's a fun time to be in the Capitol. And we've got about 2 hard months. You know, March and April we'll get a lot of stuff done. May starts kind of shutting down about mid-May administratively. We got to get prepared to close the session out. And as of right now, interesting enough, which will be unique to my tenure down here, it doesn't appear that there would be have to have a special session. That doesn't say that anything can happen, and we may have a situation that we have to deal with, but everything's moving pretty smooth on both sides of the chamber, so that's been encouraging.
Yesterday when Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick spoke at the Faith and Family Day, he spoke about how a lot of the faith and family issues were moving forward and taking priority. What are your thoughts on a lot of those issues that are at hand?
Well, at its core politically, it's a states' rights issue for me. If a majority of your citizens in a state voted on a position that in now a constitutional definition of what one man, one woman equals traditional marriage, and that's what we support in the state, as a majority as a state, then it is just incumbent for us to defend that states' rights issue. I understand the passion on both sides of the equation. I understand the faith that interacts in this decision very passionately on my side. It's a faith-based issue, personally for sure, but at its core politically, it's a states' rights matter. And if not this issue, if the majority of a state cannot determine this issue, then I ask the courts what would be the issue of the day for the states to decide, because it seems like we've given or conceded or through apathy allowed our rights as a state to be taken away. So we've got to stay focused on the constitutional element and discussion of this, and it's a state rights matter. On an individual level, it could be a liberties issue, a religious liberties issue, and at what point does that interject into the equation? I think we'll see all of those discussions before June. But Texas has a constitutional definition of one man, one woman as its traditional marriage definition, or what we support as a legal marriage in this state. And we have to hold fast to the will of the people, our Constitution as a state, and protect those state rights. And that's where that discussion is going to probably center around pretty quick. I filed a bill
that's what I was going to ask, yes,
that takes the authority to issue and register marriage licenses at the county level, i.e. 254 outlets, if you will, and moves that to the Secretary of State office so that the state can have a consolidated position for defense in our legal battles going forward on that issue. Then the AG can take a lead role in defending the state on that issue, and to eliminate any possible what we refer to as rogue county clerks that are just outside the boundaries of the state law. So that was a remedy. It was a posturing position to try to get our hands around something that could get out of control, and we couldn't fix it before we went forward.
The committee that you're chairing, agriculture, I forgot the whole
Rural Ag and Water.
Thank you.
Call it RAW is the acronym.
Oh, okay, very good. What type of bills are you seeing already coming in, being filed, that's going to fall in that area?
It'll be a low volume committee as far as bill volume. It'll be a very contentious and intense discussion, and because it involves water. Water is life. Water is something everybody needs in this state, and we will hear a lot of discussion on how do you move it, who owns it, do you have to pay for it if you move it, and who controls, who gets where the water is moved to, and who can take that water. So on a surface level and a groundwater level. Now the encouraging thing is Texas has the natural resources through brackish water, 2.7 billion acres of brackish water available, projected to be a 150-year water supply. It's deeper in a lot of areas than what we'd like to admit that we can get to it very cheaply, but we will have those discussions and those debates going forward, centered around core issue being property rights.
So going back to your brackish water, that's a big issue out in West Texas as a potential water source. Are you seeing some creative ideas on how to convert it to potable water?
Yeah, actually the process of desaling brackish water is full bore. We've got numerous desal plants around the state already operational and doing it in a very cost-effective way. The lift cost to get the water up is the challenge of the day, and we'll work through those issues. But you know, when you don't have water, what's the price you're willing to pay? But the brackish desal water is already occurring. The seabed water, the seawater, if you will, that's in its infancy. There's 2 seabed or seawater desal plants currently. Neither one of them are municipal use or commercial use. We are starting a third in the Corpus area as a pilot project to work into municipal use on that. But the encouraging thing again, it's not as cheap as freshwater supply, but it's affordable and within the realm of possibility in today's dollars, which should only get better. So we are big enough as a state financially. We're big enough as a state with the resources that are available today to develop, to put our water needs out there way into the future if we just make it a funding priority and make it a priority of discussion and protect those private property interests that are engaged in that.
I want to go back to the budget you mentioned. I know that Lieutenant Governor Patrick has, with Senator Nelson, have projected a budget decrease of around $4 billion or $4 million? And I'm just wondering, with that and the House, with their look at the budget, are we going to have a war between the two ends?
Well, I think what you're speaking to is they're projecting a $4 billion tax relief package.
Yes, thank you.
And it's 2.5 for property tax relief and it's 1.5 for business tax relief. So combined, and we still have monies above the cap, if you will, that are still, we have such a surplus of revenues, all within the confines of a spending cap, that we can cover the basic needs and the core functions of government and state and still have enough room to do some tax relief. Because honestly, it's the individual taxpayer that provides the money for the revenue. You can say it's companies, you can say, but it leaves the money in the individuals to decide which companies survive and not. They're the biggest economic engine. So giving them property tax relief on the personal level, giving businesses the flexibility by having less taxes to hire people, that's the engine we've created, and it's bared out that it's the right way. So we still got excess money over and above even that that's not spendable because of the spending cap. Now, with caution, I'm not a Debbie Downer, I'm not a sky's falling guy, but we are in a $50 a barrel economy. All indications are is maybe that's the bottom, and it'll start ticking back up. It needs to be in that 70 range to have state core functions covered according to budget. So we're still not there. So over the next 2-year biennium, we may find out that we need to pull in some surpluses from this session. We need to carry that surplus into the next biennium to level off some of the potential downturn on an economy that maybe it doesn't catch up as fast as what we'd hoped. So I'm a little cognizant of the fact we have some extra money, but we don't need to spend all the money today.
Well said. Any last thoughts that you would like to share with your constituents?
I just appreciate you. I think you have had your eyes opened to how the sausage is made, as it's affectionately referred to, but I think you're probably seeing that, as I did. I was a cynic before I got down here. I was a rock thrower is what I tell people. Now that I'm inside catching the rocks, I've been encouraged by the fact that if people come down, truly participate, maybe not getting what they hope to achieve, but if they participated, the process works and it's better, and more often than not, we get it pretty close to right. We don't miss the mark well, but it's all contingent, very far, but it's usually contingent upon how much people were engaged in it. So I'm just excited the fact that you're down here, that you're getting the message out, you're letting people know what we're doing, and that there's no big secrecy going on down here. It's just open government to the best of our abilities. We try to let people engage in it, and it makes the process better. But I'm pretty much encouraged that we get it right most of the time down here.
I appreciate you as well, Senator. Thank you for your time this morning, and look forward to visiting you again with you in the future.
Well, thank you.